Let's talk now about one of the most argued topics in all of photography, which is RAW versus JPEG. And notice that I put the RAW on the right side, which is the kind of the upper hand over here. I'm gonna keep this simple for you guys. We're gonna explain why, but for now, if you're only watching the first 15 seconds of this video, shoot RAW. A lot of the techniques that we're teaching you, in fact, basically all the techniques that we're teaching on this workshop, you need to be shooting RAW images to be able to really get the most out of these techniques. And here's the reason. When we're shooting an HDR image, we're bringing these 3 or 5 or 7 frames into post-production and we're preparing them for HDR processing. We don't take them directly into Photomatix or into our HDR processing software right away. We first look at our color balance and our temperature. We then check out noise and detail. We see if we need to do any additional noise reduction, make any additional exposure adjustments, everything. And for that, we really need the RAW files to get the best results. If we're using JPEG, we don't have full control over temperature and white balance. Okay, so for these adjustments, we need the RAW files. We then take those files, export them directly to Photomatix. This is when Photomatix is going to basically use the JPEG versions of those edited or prepared images to create the HDR process photo. What we're then doing is taking one of the RAW photos and we're processing it as a natural image, trying to basically bring back as much tonal range as possible, and then we're combining that edited RAW with our final HDR process photo to create a blend, and then we're mastering and finishing that blended image inside of Lightroom. This process isn't possible really, or you wouldn't get the best results if you were shooting JPEG. It could be done, but it wouldn't be the best. Now let's talk about our single shot HDRs. With single shot HDRs, it just wouldn't be possible. That's it. There's no other arguing about it. A JPEG does not capture enough tonal range and enough information to basically give us the options to process it the way we want to in Lightroom. In addition, if we're shooting JPEG, we have to absolutely nail and perfect our white balance because we don't really have full control. We can make temperature and tint adjustments, but we don't have full control over white balance. We're not going to have as good of options when it comes to detail enhancing and everything else in the photo. So a single shot HDR, it really isn't going to yield good results when shooting JPEG. Now, what I would say for now is until you've mastered this entire workshop, until you've mastered the overall process of doing HDR, shoot RAW. If at some point down the road, after you understand everything, you say to yourself, well, I actually just like to shoot JPEG better and it works for my workflow. I've tried it based on how I process and my look that I go for, JPEG works just fine. At that point, make the decision to go JPEG, and that's totally okay. I know a lot of photographers that shoot completely professional HDR images that they sell to magazines and advertisers and everything, and they shoot JPEG. And that's fine, but you will need to dial in all of your adjustments perfectly with these settings and these scenes because you don't have the flexibility as you would in RAW. So let's keep it simple. For now, until you've mastered everything here, shoot RAW. Once you understand all the techniques and you've tried practicing around with JPEG, you can make a full informed decision at that point. All right, let's move on to the next video.